Yes, we work quite a lot with housing associations, for example, and we've done a number of installations in the Midlands where we'll put solar panels on maybe 12, 15, 20 houses at a time, and each person in those houses will save currently about £250 a year on their energy bills, which is a big slice of their costs. We've also worked with a range of businesses around the country where we work in partnership with MHL Support, who are with us today. And we're usually able to demonstrate 10, 20, 25% energy cost reductions through an initial site visit and appraisal of a business operating activity. Because energy is such a neglected area of costs for a lot of businesses. They'll focus on their materials costs, they focus on their labour costs, and they forget that they've got to heat and light the buildings. And that's one of the easiest areas to save money in, by putting in effective control systems or maybe putting a small number of renewables on site. Wind turbines are more effective than solar panels on windy sites, but the key thing there is the on windy sites bit, because they're far more sensitive to location than solar PV. So solar PV is very predictable in terms of its savings. Wind turbines is only predictable when you know what the average wind speed is on that site, and that's quite difficult to get hold of because the Met Office data is too broad for being able to tell me what it will be on my office in Leamington. So if you're prepared to take the risk and you're lucky, your wind turbine will do far, far better than your solar PV. It'll probably pay back in about a quarter of the time. But if you get it wrong, you'll be out the other way and you get a tenth what you expected, so you could not get your money back. We recently did a trial across the whole country of wind turbines, and we tested 30 different sites, and on 3 of them the turbines performed exceptionally well and were doing really, really well, and were paying back probably within well under 10 years the investment, and then they were making profit for their owners even before feed-in tariffs, which are the new incentive scheme. On the other 27 sites, or 90% if you turn it into percentage terms, the turbines were performing at about an 1/8 to a 1/10 of their manufacturer prediction. So people were really discovering that they had to look before they leap with wind turbines. You have to use experienced people to do it. Don't just think you can go out and do it yourself, or at least do a little bit of research to learn what's important before you try and do that with solar. With wind, you need an experienced installer to make sure you get it right, and you should always monitor the wind speed on site for at least 6 months before you do it. That's a service we offer. It would involve setting up a mast on the location and a data recording piece of equipment. It isn't as simple as going out and holding up an anemometer, because the wind today will not be the same as the wind tomorrow. So you actually gain one data point and you need probably 60,000 data points over 6 months to actually get a sensible picture of the wind speed. I've been in this industry now for nearly 20 years, and I have never ever in my entire career had anyone come to me and say, my site isn't windy. Every single person I've met who's had any interest in wind turbines believes they have a windy site, because we don't really have a feel for what's really windy and what isn't really windy. So if you're going to take that view and not measure the wind speed, just beware, you could waste a lot of money. There's a lot of innovation going on, particularly with solar PV, around nanotechnology and other quite exciting areas. And it's all about getting the efficiency up, so it's about kind of incremental innovation. So for the same area of roof, you get a little bit more energy. With wind, that's far harder to do. I mean, wind is a very mature technology, really. It's been around hundreds of years, and we've really squeezed almost everything we can out of it already. A lot of the innovation there is about making sure that the systems are quieter or they work in more turbulent environments, so really quite subtle innovation there. Whereas with solar PV, it's very straightforward, like cars. Can you get more miles per gallon? With solar PV, can you get more, I guess, bang for bucks in terms of your square metres? But we're already dealing with a technology that's at the stage of the motor industry in the 1980s, and we're trying to get to the 2000s. It's not like we're in the 1920s. We are talking a global industry here with very large companies, massive billion-pound investments in it. It's not a noddy industry at all.